Good evening to you. Tonight we are going to look at the conclusion of chapter 10 of the book of Hebrews. Chapter 10. I hope you've enjoyed Hebrew. It's a great book to study and look at so much. We are looking at how much better the New Testament and Christ and the law of the New Testament is so much better than the Old. We are not saying that the Old was bad. The Old was great. Matter of fact, the Old laid the foundation of the New. And the New could not be here. The law of Christ could not be here if we had not had that foundation that was set by the Old Testament. And we need to remember that. In Romans 15, it says the things that are written aforehand was written for our learning. We need to realize that. We see that in Hebrews, because Hebrews talks about the old, and it shows that it was a shadow of things to come, and how that basically the New Testament fulfills. It fulfills the Old Testament. It doesn't erase it, but it fulfills it. And we need to realize that. We can learn from it. Now we are going to start at verse 30. Here, go back and start at verse 30 of Hebrews 10. For we know him who said, vengeance is mine. I will repay, says the Lord. And again, the Lord will judge his people. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. It is what? A fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. It belongs to him. And we need to realize that. We as human beings should not take vengeance on people. We should try to encourage and talk to people, but the vengeance belongs to God. It says, verse 32, but recall the former days to which, after you was illuminated, you endured a great struggle with suffering, partly while you was made a spectator, both by reproach and tribulations, and partly while you became companions of those who was so treated. For you had compassion on me in my chain, and joyfully accepted the plundering of your goods, knowing that you have a better and an enduring possession for yourself in heaven. What he was talking about in the first century, it cost people to be a Christian. There was people that was losing their homes, losing their lives, losing. It was bad in the early part of the first century. Well, people that worked, if you worked in a business where the other Jews would deal and work with you, if you became a Christian, then you could be thrown in jail. Paul knew that. Others knew that. It happened. The Hebrew writer was saying that you have suffered as a Christian. Matter of fact, I would say this. Today, we don't suffer as a Christian maybe enough. Because it's funny, over in countries, and I'm going to mention Iran. Iran, from what I can read and find out, the country there is upset. The people in charge are upset because hundreds of people are becoming Christians. And it costs them something. Sometimes their jobs, sometimes their family. Christianity here, in the writer of Hebrews, he said that this was something that they had suffered because of their faith. Matter of fact, I heard it said one time, if something doesn't cost you something, is it worth having? You know, you can get a lot of things for nothing, but is it worth having? Christianity was costing these people something. Why? Because you've had, it says, compassion on me in my chains, and joyfully accepted what? The plundering of your goods, knowing that you have a better and an enduring possession for yourself in heaven. Christianity could lose many things. Matter of fact, we know later on, and if we get to the book of Revelation one day, we will talk about, they say, the mark of the beast and all this. For my study of this, I think that's talking about where in some of the province of Asia Minor, some of the province, if you did not worship the Caesar, if you did not worship Caesar in some towns as God, then they would not allow you to do business. If you didn't have a stamp saying that, because they would make Caesar their town or city god, their main god that they worshiped. And they expected everybody, and if you did not have a stamp or did not say that you had worshiped him, then you did not get to be and did not do business. You would lose your livelihood. That has happened in more than one occasion in the world. In some way, it's happening in the world today in a few places, and it probably will happen again and again throughout this world. I pray not in this country, but who is to say that it won't? We have to know the danger is there. These people, they endured. It says, for you had compassion on me in my chain, and joyfully accepted the plundering of your goods, knowing that you have a better and an enduring possession for yourself in heaven. It's worth the cost. Christianity, if it doesn't cost you nothing, then maybe is it worth it? It does sometimes. I think, and this is going to sound, and I'm just going to tell you the fact, something that hurts me. But when I obeyed the gospel and I became a Christian, I went back to Oklahoma from Kentucky. It was hard on me because I had some cousins that I was very close to, that I had grew up with. We had not lived a Christian life as a teenager. I didn't live a Christian life. I lived a very worldly life. My family, my cousins, when I turned 13, it was the custom for your 13th birthday, they got you drunk. That's what happened to me. I'm not saying they was, some ways they was good. They wouldn't steal and all that, but they was very worldly in their sense. And when I went back, I wasn't as close to some of them cousins. One of my young uncles, it hurt me. I mean, I grew up with them, going with them. I went back and all of a sudden I was ostracized. They didn't come over. We didn't go out together. We didn't do. Why? Because they thought I was different. And I was. That hurts. But sometimes, was it worth the cost? Yes, it was worth. But the thing about it is, this happened here among the Jewish brethren. It happened a lot. Because people said, you follow that guy? You follow that Christ? You follow Jesus? You thought he was the Christ? How could you believe that? And that cost them their family, so oftentimes, their friends. And I can understand that to a sense. And it's something, but they knew they had a better what? They had something better coming. You have possession for yourself in heaven, something better. It says, the conclusion of this is in 35. Listen to 35. It says, therefore do not cast away your confidence, which has great reward. Don't give up. Don't give up. Christianity, and I'm talking to those of you that are Christian, there's going to be people and they're going to try to get you to give up Christianity. Don't give it up. And this is what he's telling them. This is the whole point. I think one of the major points of the book of Hebrews. This is better, a better covenant, a better promise, a better hope. Don't give up. For you have need of endurance, so that after you have done the will of God, you may receive the promise. For yet a little while, and he who is coming will come and will not tarry. Now the just shall live, and notice, the just shall live by faith. But if anyone draw back, my soul has no pleasure in him. But, I like this, but we are not of those who draw back into perdition, but of those who believe to the saving of the soul. What are you? I'm talking to people that are looking at this. I don't know you. It's not important that I do know you. But it is important that God knows you and you know him. And if you are, I plead with you, do not draw back into perdition, because you have it. Keep it. God be with you till we meet again.